In his usual low-key fashion, Darwin would stress how we unconsciously program our lives. If we tend to be pessimistic, we create a negative life for ourselves. If we are optimistic, we create a more positive life. If we go a step further and imagine a divine life for ourselves with Baba, in time this will become our life. The qualities of truth, beauty, love, and purity will be ours. This is based on the truth of Baba's words when he says, whatever you want to be, that you become. I once asked Darwin, what is the biggest mistake the Baba lovers are making? He responded, they think of themselves as small, and they remain small. Think big. Think even beyond the conventional spiritual box. With encouragement, Darwin would say we have to become conscious of the many ways we may limit our receptivity to Baba's unconditional love. We think, Baba won't love me until I get my weaknesses more under control. It is only when I remember and obey him constantly that he will be pleased. Baba has said that he loves and adores us no matter what. But we take the limiting and unfavorable reactions of others to us over our lifetime as proof that we are not lovable. We project the attitude of others and our own self-judgment onto Baba, and thereby program our own unhappiness. I'm not enough. I am always falling short. These are man-made and self-created judgments, and they limit the precious intimacy we could be enjoying with Baba's ever-available companionship. We are all a mixture of selflessness and love. I'm sorry, we're all a mixture of selfishness and love. And if we condemn ourselves each time we are selfish, we are programming unhappiness and sabotaging our own joy. Darwin would say we have to acquire a healthy self-acceptance and know that Baba always accepts us as we are while encouraging us to go deeper. There is a Sufi saying that beautifully expresses Baba's intervention in our lives. To be united with him. If you were to be united with him only after the extinction of your vices and the effacement of your pretensions, you would never be united with him. Instead, when he wants to unite you to himself, he covers your attribute with his attribute and hides your quality with his quality. And thus, he unites you to himself by virtue of what comes from him to you, not by virtue of what goes from you to him. A reminder.
Yeah,
There,
read that. Yeah.
yeah, okay. There is the Generation XYZ Sahavas on September 2nd at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Would love to see you there. It is an opportunity to get to know fellow Baba lovers you might never have a chance to meet. Jeff.
Yeah. Someone said, what about the baby boomers? I guess the baby boomers are W. So it should be WXYZ, but and some of them thought that, wow, someone actually thought that this was being exclusive and they weren't allowing I just came up with a title that might be catchy, Generation XYZ, so we're putting a W in there as well. So, but going
I
back,
missed it. What does W stand for?
that's the baby boomers.
W? Seriously?
Well, I mean, if you're doing each letter as a generation and you go back, then you have to have a W in there. In other words, we got four generations here on this screen, you might say. I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway, where everybody,
Complex
so
math, but I can handle it.
it's all generations, but I just found a goofy way of wording it. But anyway, let me say that Darwin in this chapter is, he's writing about drawing on the power of Baba's universal mind, the power practicing positive affirmations. That, a lot of these groups, they seek to manifest prosperity and abundance, as you know, through this principle. And in their case, the affirmations are used for worldly purposes, and they often work. But Darwin is talking about using this principle of affirmation for higher purposes, which, something like manifesting more of an intimate experience of Baba's presence to awaken more universal love within ourselves. And maybe, even to fulfill a longing to be with Baba next time he comes. We can be kind of proactive about what we would like to see in our life, and not just have to be kind of passive victims of outer circumstances. So this is kind of a very proactive way, but we'll get into that later. But anyway, let's see. Lauren, how do you feel like reading? We'll start out with, I think it's something like unseen. It goes a little. We're a little farther along, Jacima. We read that. Programming in the unseen. That's where we're at.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay, sweet. Programming the unseen. We are constantly working with causes and programming at the archetypal level. We create a prototype in the unseen based on a belief or thought. Based on a belief or thought. Then it is manifested, and the result we experience reinforces our original belief or thought and keeps it alive. In psychological terms, our subconscious is open to suggestions and will respond. In archetypal programming, the response is that the universal mind, working through our subconscious, goes ahead and manifests the suggestion as if it were a command. It does so without questioning whether it is accurate or wise, or whether or not it can even be done. The universal mind and our subconscious are not conditioned or bound by precedent or by gross obstacles. Of course, this can work in our favor. The truth is that we are unlimited spirit and one with God. So if we take our stand on the truth, this will manifest and become our experience. The universal mind is creative, not destructive. It does not have discriminatory faculties. It responds to suggestions automatically. It has no personality, no opinion, and no axe to grind. Yet, as an aspect of God, it has a sense of the personal and is completely benign, which is why we can feel the personal presence of God or the infinite, and why we can have companionship with him and feel his guidance.
Yeah,
Wow.
thank you.
Thank
This is like, it's a very, what can I say, esoteric subject. I mean, the way Darwin is stating it. Does anybody kind of weigh in on maybe some example or some way of describing that in other terms? Or anything to say to that at all in any way?
Raz? Or
No,
did he appear?
those hands that are up were there.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
they've just gotten frozen up there. Yeah.
Hi, it's Cindy.
Yeah. Good. Nice to see you. Yeah.
Nice to see you. This is one of my favorite parts of Effort and Grace, this call to really know we're infinite. I've been thinking about this in the last week. Either we're infinite or we're not. It's like either we're connected in one with all that is, or we're not. I don't think there's gray. It's like Bob is the avatar or he's not. Like that kind of, there's no between. And when I feel the call from Baba from this, it's very inspiring to me. It takes off any limitations of my imagination for myself or for humanity or for Earth or the cosmos. And I think in this particular juncture of humanity, maybe always, but the only solution is a spiritual solution. I think at this moment for me to be able to live from let nothing limit my imagination and what I might be able to be a vehicle for Baba's grace in my life and in the world. I think it's extraordinary, and I love this, and that's why I'm up late for me, because when I read the letter, I was like, "Oh yeah, I want to be lifetime on this one."
Yeah, no, we'll, I hope you check in further too, because, yeah, you're taking advantage of this. I know Erich and Darwin used to say that, imagine that, imagine that Baba is, well, I get what I gather from Darwin and Erich, always imagine that Baba's right there before you, watching you. And that imagination, ultimately, you'll find it was true all along. You're imagining something that's in fact true rather than imagining there's an elephant over there in the corner. That's just sheer imagination without any reality behind it. So, but I saw those ladies up there, those LA ladies. They had a hand up.
I did for a minute, but I wanted to review something first. But I will share with you that, for me, Bob is just with me. I can't explain it any other way. It's a feeling. It's an intuition. He holds my hand. He gives me answers to my questions. And we sat with Ward Parks yesterday, and I am more confused about anything I ever thought. It's like my brain isn't part of Baba. I mean, it is, but it's not the thinking. I can't explain it, but it's like, I don't need to know why I follow him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you can, I mean, some people, it's interesting, Baba would say to some people, now I want you to read God Speaks 7 times. I want you to read it God Speaks 3 times. No, you don't need to read it. I mean, it's kind of your nature, Sometimes it helps to have a kind of sense of the metaphysics of this whole place
Mm-hmm.
in sharing this with others if they have questions, but it may not have really much relevance for how you live your life.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I love about sessions like this is, well, Darwin is heady and wordy. He's also directive. And that's what I really crave, is how to use Baba in my life on a daily basis. And those who have gone before me, such as Darwin and such as everybody on this screen who shares how they use Baba in their daily life, is invaluable to me. But the other stuff is like Teflon.
It just,
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll. Yeah, no, it's, yeah, like I say, Darwin was, he really worked with some of the laws of the mind to bring bring Baba right in. So that, because people think, oh, Baba's not interested in me. Wow, that thought is so powerful that we lose immense intimacy. And we may think that, no, I mean, people aren't that interested in me. And how could Baba, God himself, be that personally interested in me? Those types of thoughts, we lose a tremendous amount of intimacy by harboring such thoughts. Yeah. Anyone else?
I do have a quick question. What page in the book are we on? Anybody?
Uh, I think it is
Page 78.
page 78.
Here one.
Ron?
Yeah. So what struck me was this idea that we have we come in contact with various things that inspire us or that are our intuitive guidance from Baba. And so as we go along, these things, some of the things will stick around for decades, even years, decades. And they're just wonderful to remember in terms of remembering Baba. And other things, they work for a while, and then, they did their job, and you sort of get retired.
Yeah.
And they don't need to be there, and it leaves room for something new. So that's how I'm finding life with Baba is. It's just kind of rolling along, and he introduces something, and we make of it what we will, and then probably get rid of it after a while, or incorporate it in such a way where it's not the specific thing.
Yeah, I find that what you say is true for me,
Yeah.
or some things, some ways of remembering Baba have like have value in certain situations and that situation may come up only every 3 months or something, and I can take it off the shelf and use it, so to speak.
Good.
So, and I've got a whole repertoire of things so that if that's not working anymore, then I'll use this. Sometimes Baba's name doesn't give me the vitality that it normally has, so I switch to something else from my bag, my toolbox, as Marion is always saying. Okay, let's go on to the next section. How about Anthony?
Okay, Jay Baba, everyone. So,
This starts to get pretty esoteric, but it's all summed down in a simple way. I'll mention it, but go ahead.
all right, here we go. I am. Meher Baba has said that the God man, the avatar, is more powerful than God, the infinite. Being consciously one with the universal mind, he can and does respond to people with all the infallible, invincible, absolutely dependable attributes of the universal mind, but with full personal consciousness of us and the creation. His purpose with us and for us is to make us happy, but also to free us from the illusions and delusions of the creation. However, we limit him. In 1954, during a darshan program, when thousands of people from all classes were passing before Baba to have his darshan, he turned to us Western men and said, quote, "I love them all, big and small, high and low, rich and poor, all. I am whatever anyone takes me to be." When he said this, I felt that he was speaking from the state of the infinite being behind his form as the universal mind or God, the infinite. There were many other occasions when he said similar things, such as, quote, "To each one I appear to be what he thinks I am," and, quote, "I am in you, and the universal mind can give anything to anyone at any time. Just follow these instructions. Love me, do not deceive, do not commit misdeeds. I will be with you." These statements have tremendous implications. If we even begin to understand, we realize how important our relationship with the Master is. By thinking of Baba as God the infinite or universal mind, we are plugging into both the personal and impersonal avenues of power, energy, truth, and reality. This is what the avatar and the perfect masters are. Being conscious of us and our sanskaric dilemmas, they are transformers who are able to transform at our personal level. As unconscious universal mind, Baba responds to our every whim. He also responds to what we think and feel about him. This is because he is a reflection of our image of him. If we project a limited view on him, then we are limiting him in how he can work with us. For example, if we think of him as a judge, then our subjective self-created experience will be that of being judged by him. In other words, if we take him to be a judge, he becomes that for us. If we take him to be our master and friend, that is who he is for us. Our relationship with him will be in accordance to whatever we attribute to him and however we relate to him. Whether we program with regard to God the infinite or Meher Baba, it comes out the same. But I feel that there's a definite advantage if we go through Baba. I think it helps us to experience the personal aspect of God more personally, since this is why Baba took incarnation. J. Baba.
Yeah. Anything to say to that comes to mind?
I have something.
Oh, sorry.
I brought something to read, and I think this is the perfect spot where it fits. This is something composed by author unknown. Anybody remember him or her? Anyhow, you may have come across this before. I hope you have, but if you hadn't, I'm glad to present it at this point. At first, I saw God as my observer, my judge. Sound familiar? Keeping track of the things I did wrong so as to know whether I merited heaven or hell when I die. He was out there sort of like the president. I recognized his picture when I saw it. I didn't really know him. But later on, when I recognized my higher power, it seemed as though life was rather like a bike ride, but it was a tandem bike. And I noticed that God was in the back helping me pedal. I don't know just when it was that he suggested we change places, but life has not been the same since. Life with my higher power, that is, God makes life exciting. When I had control, I knew the way. It was rather boring, but predictable. It was the shortest distance between 2 points. But when he took the lead, he knew delightful long cuts, up mountains and through rocky places, and at breakneck speeds. It was all I could do to hang on. Even though it looked like madness, he said, pedal. I worried and was anxious and asked, where are you taking me? He laughed and didn't answer. And I started to learn to trust. I forgot my boring life and entered into the adventure. And when I'd say I'm scared, he'd lean back and touch my hand. He took me to people with gifts that I needed, gifts of healing, acceptance, and joy. They gave me their gifts to take on my journey, our journey, God's and mine. And we were off again. He said, give the gifts away. They're extra baggage, too much weight. So I did to the people we met. And I found that in giving, I received. And still our burden was light. I did not trust him at first in control of my life. I thought he'd wreck it. but he knows bike secrets. He knows how to make it bend to take sharp corners, jump to clear high rocks, fly to shorten scary passages. And I am learning to shut up and pedal in the strangest places. And I'm beginning to enjoy the view and the cool breeze on my face with my delightful, constant companion, my higher power. And when I'm sure I can't do any more, he just smiles and says, pedal,
Beautiful. That's fantastic.
isn't it?
That's the life of Baba right there. That's
Fantastic, Ron.
that's my
Fantastic.
trajectory
Love
there.
I love it.
Beautiful.
Find it on the internet and share it around. It's
All
really
right.
awesome.
What would we Google?
Google like higher power, tandem bicycle. That's how I found it before.
Really great.
Bicycle, yeah, it's great.
Great. Well, I wanted to make a comment specifically for Terry, because I was reading, Creation and Its Causes, and then I picked up The Nothing and Everything by Balkal-Shuri, which when I first got it, I couldn't read it. And so now I'm realizing that a lot of that is in Creation and Causes. But so on the second plane, Baba says there are two skies. Now, what skies are, I don't know, but like heavens or something. And when you die, you go to heaven or hell. Well, heaven or hell are in one of these skies on the second plane, and they're called Svarg and Narg. Svarg and Narg. Yes, that's what. So I thought you'd like that, Terry. Anyway, to get back to the storyline here, I find this really difficult. What this subject is about is the real issue of following Baba, and I just wanted to make one point, and that's that. I'm probably wrong in this, but I've always told people, don't bother praying to God. He can't hear you. He doesn't know you're here. He's infinitely conscious of himself. That's it. So go with the avatar because that's who he is, period. And he represents your interests in God. Thank you.
Yeah. It's interesting, though. Darwin does say that you can make an appeal to that infinite God and things can manifest in your life, even if you don't know about Baba. But Baba can come down and take the lens of the sunlight and focus it on on a very personal level on all of us. I just anything else to add? Darwin used to, talk about this manifestation. He would say that, if you're up on a stage and someone hypnotizes you, basically they give you a suggestion, and say they give you a suggestion that you're a rabbit, and tell you to hop, when you're hypnotized, hop across the stage, and you will actually do that. I mean, if you've been kind of gotten in on been hypnotized, you'll hop around on the stage like you're a rabbit. I mean, a grown person. And I mean, that's the power of that suggestion. Well, he used to give that as an example. But if we kind of program ourselves for the highest spiritual things, they will happen. Even if you long to be with Baba next time he comes, and you put your heart and soul in it, it will happen. So there's a great power in our hands that when it's used for spiritual purposes is the very best.
Jeff, what do you think Baba meant by his Nazar?
His Nazar is, it's an experience where you feel that you're being watched by him. You can actually feel him, and he's watching you from all around you. It's kind of and so your life is being led, and you're being witnessed. But it's a very loving thing. It's not a critical. As I know it, it's he's all for you and he's all loving. He's not sitting there like some judge who's scrutinizing your behavior. That's a different, that's a different guy looking at you. That's usually your, like they say, Baba says, as Darwin said there, if you take me as a judge, I will judge you. And I mean, we can bring that on ourselves, but we don't have to go there. You can say, if you take him as being all forgiving, he will be all forgiving. He'll be in your court. Because Darwin was saying that don't just let Baba be just a two-dimensional avatar there, kind of come down through history. He can be, someone that likes to hang out in Colorado and walk around outside your property there. I mean, he can be anything and everything. And Darwin was very encouraging of this, not to limit him so much. But anyway,
Jeff, can I just add something?
Yeah.
I was just answering Rich. Rich, your question about nazar. The literal meaning of the word nazar means gaze. Gaze. So my gaze is on you.
Yeah. And it's an all-seeing gaze. That all-seeing eye on the top of the pyramid on a $5 bill or something. We got another Colorado guy there.
Bob. Hey, good evening. Well, I'm not sure this is on topic, but I think it is. So I'm going to try. The sentence in the first paragraph or the second paragraph, in psychological terms, our subconscious is open to suggestions and will respond. So something happened this morning. Baba said, and I have remembered it so often, that do everything that you need to do, but keep in the back of your mind, all this is Baba's. Have I got that more or less correct? So the way that I have tried to remember that for a long, long time is to, I'm doing things and I'm getting involved in things, but I try to remember all this is yours, using the word, sort of imagining Baba and thinking the word yours. And this morning, I remember that Baba's words were, keep in your mind, all this is Baba's. And suddenly that made such a huge difference to me. I mean, it just opened up a space in me. It made me it's like, oh, it's not just me changing Baba's words and sort of thinking vaguely about him and saying, oh, this is yours, but thinking all this is Baba's created the only thing I can call it is space. It created enough space between me and what I was doing to allow me to witness that in a way that I never had before. And it was such a joyful way to go about my chores, my duties, my walk around. It was astounding to me. So I'll stop there. That's as good as I can do to explain it.
No, that's fantastic, and that's a beautiful experience where things don't just belong to you, and other things belong to others. The whole thing belongs to Baba, so that opens up things wide open. Everything has got Baba's signature on it, rather than, Rich Sander and Ronnie Greenstein. I mean, it's all Baba's. Yeah, that's beautiful. Wonderful. I was going to ask Goer, but I hope I doesn't put you on the spot. How do you, Baba can be anything and everything. How do you think of Baba?
Oh gosh, in so many ways. Too numerous to mention. no, really. But during the day, he just comes to me in so many different ways. I can't even begin. You know, the usual formal way in which I start my day, of course, and then, but things just, I can't explain it. It's just a small thing like, I'll be cooking something and I'll taste it and I'll say, Baba, does this taste all right to you? Something like that. You know, just quirky thoughts like that go through my head as I'm going through my day. So it's just every little thing just brings, yeah, and I just talk to him, or in my mind, he's just there like an app going in the background, you know, on your phone. There's apps playing on the back. It's like that. Baba's there all the time. That's all I can, yeah.
I mean, is he kind of sometimes mischievous or, you know, supportive sometimes, serious? I mean, does
Yeah.
you experience all of the different
All the different ways,
he was
yes.
responding to you if he was physically there?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Especially in moments, I mean, a while back when I was going through tough times, he was there all the more. And I would literally sit and, you know, imagine myself in front of him, just pouring my heart out. And the relief or the peace that comes after that is just, I can't explain it. It just puts you in a different zone afterwards. I would just imagine myself sitting in the tomb there and being with him, or it just is, it transports me to a different place. It's all I can say.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe.
But beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's go on to the next section. This is another. It goes even more esoteric here, folks. Let's see. Oh, everybody disappeared now. How about, is Nasreen there? Oh, well, if Nasreen,
Yes, I am here.
would you feel like reading that?
I hope I can. Of our programming and switch our focus from the level of outer condition to the master.
Nasreen, you have to go up. You have to go up a couple lines. It says first cause.
Okay.
Is that coming in on your screen? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
First cause. It is up to us what the master can and will do for us. Therefore, we would be wise to take charge of our programming and switch our focus from the level of outer condition to the master himself. The source of everything, we dot so much on our self-created environment and spend a lot of time reaching to it, not realizing that the world, even the world of thought and feeling, is an effect, not first cause. Meher Baba says that we are the product of all
Phenomena.
We have projected everything out of us. What Baba is telling us is that we are creating our own world, our emotional world, as well as the physical world and our mental world, and that we can design it and make it any way we would like. In 1954, in India, Baba quoted one of his disciples, Baidul, and saying, we produce everything, and like fools, we become the slave of what we are the master of. If we regard the illusory word instead of God or the master as first cause and base our reaction on this false premise, is that right? Premise, we have created a second degree of falseness. We get caught up in a where am I?
Continuous.
Oh, continuous chain reaction, where an event, in parenthesis, a cause, result in a reaction, in the parenthesis, an effect, which become the cause of the next reaction, and so on. As this chain of cause and effect continues, we go further and further into the falseness. We find that we are continually dealing with
contingencies
all the time. We are constantly postulating the certain condition cannot come about unless certain other conditions are met.
Beautiful.
God, thank you. Sorry if I didn't pronounce it right.
No, we understood perfectly.
Thank you.
Any
Good job, Nasreen.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, one thing that simplifies all of this, I mean, Darwin is talking about these mechanics, but if you just think of Baba day and night, drop back into Baba, you're dropping into the first cause, and if things flow from there out, it simplifies it. Then if you try to figure out why the world is this way and why that person behaves that way, and get into the cause and effect of everything, it becomes very complicated. Whereas if we go to Baba, somehow we have a certain knowing, and we can understand intuitively why things are the way they are, but we don't get caught up in all of the happenings. So involved in the happenings in this world. That doesn't mean we don't respond, but we're not trying to figure it out so much. But anyone have anything to say to that? That's pretty esoteric there. Oh yeah, and while we're here, I wanted to ask, is Anthony, is he headed out? I just want to ask Lauren, what's the status of that hurricane?
Gosh, Anthony's the one to ask, but he may have just signed off. I think that it's just kind of continuing to build strength, and it's looking like a bit of an obstacle, but we'll see what Baba has in store, I'm still holding on to the hope, but it might be that we have to come Friday and leave Monday instead of come Thursday and leave Sunday, we'll see. That I guess that's best case scenario, because it seems like it's going to be right in our path, and potentially leaving our homes up in, in a little bit of potential danger. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole group of them of 9 that are coming up by van to the center from Florida.
Leaving Thursday, yeah. And the hurricane's coming right towards us, yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted, Jeff, for sure. Thank you for asking.
Good, yeah.
Cindy.
Well, first, blessings for safety in the storm, sweetheart, and for everyone. I love it, Jeff, when you say it's very esoteric. I must really love esoteric for whatever reason Baba has designed. But reading this, I have been contemplating also paradoxes. Like this, to me, is the essence of a paradox, that Baba does everything. We surrender fully to him. His will is our wish, or his wish for us, and all of that. Yet we create everything. And I get continually, delightfully stymied. There was one of the videos of Mani, I think it was in Welcome to My World, where Baba was having lunch with the women Mandali, and Baba asked Mani if the men Mandali had known something, and she was eating like, oh no, Baba, and I'll go tell him. He goes, no, enjoy your lunch. And she ate her lunch, and he said, do they know yet? Oh, Baba, I'll go, oh no, enjoy your lunch. And she just laughed delightfully as Baba played with her ego of whether to go tell them or enjoy the lunch, like those two seemingly competing orders, but really just to surrender to everything. So I laugh when reading this, whether I don't know who's doing what. So I really do like to go to first cause. Like the only way through that mind-boggling experience is, okay, Baba, you and me together, let's play.
Yeah.
If I, as Cindy, Baba in a Cindy suit, has created everything, and I can create everything I want. And what I don't like is probably the result of multiple causations that have gotten me mired in Maya. Coming back to first cause to create that truth, purity, beauty, love, like the divine game. I believe it's possible, but I also think that this just makes me laugh out loud, because it's like, okay, Baba. Okay, Baba. That's really all I can really say right now is, okay, Baba.
Beautiful. No, that's a great description of why to drop back into Baba, especially once you kind of try to get out there and try to figure this whole thing out. You get caught up in trying to figure it out, and you're when you have an opportunity to be loving, it's wasted time in a way. Yeah.
Rich.
Jeff, as these past two sections have gone through, maybe the past three, was having this thought of, isn't this what Darwin is trying to make this very palatable, digestible, but isn't this what Baba calls Ishwar? Ishwar is the creator, preserver, destroyer, and he is not conscious God. But that's what, in my reading, that's the way I understand this, that it's sort of your own personal programming. You, as Ishwar, have programmed all this in to manifest into creation, and we're at the gross level. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, and we can kind of get out of all of that creating and preserving and destroying by just dropping back into the love with Baba. So we're not out there trying to create this whole life that's something other than love. To create a loving life is the whole thing, and that proceeds from a simple source within us, I would say.
Exactly. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks.
So let's go on to the next one here. God's programming. Cindy, how about your reading? Can you see it on your screen okay?
Did you ask me, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay.
But there are no contingencies or limitations with God. So instead of continuing to struggle with conditions, we need to back up and go straight to the divine beloved as first cause, the omnipotent one who is our friend, our beloved, who wants our freedom for us even more than we do. This means that we focus on the master or God as first cause, the cause of everything that happens to us. Then we respond to the consequences of his programming as first cause, meaning the effects that result from all the qualities that he is, his omnipotence, his omniscience, and his omnipresence. Doing this changes our thoughts, our consciousness, our subconscious, and our environment. You have to understand that his first cause, Meher Baba, the God-man, is completely unlimited and undefined in the sense that no one can circumscribe him because he is not bound by any contingency. All the seemingly solid barriers are nothing to him. We need to put our full attention on Baba and not bother with circumstances, all the lesser things. By living at the level of cause and effect, the level of conditions, we are subject to worries and all kinds of illusions, and we experience doubts and fears. Do not bother at that level. Go to Baba or God as the first cause.
Yeah. You know, there's one person who was very in a great mental turmoil that she had been in it for years. And then, you know, suddenly Baba came into her life, and in just one flash, all that was gone. I mean, it you know, crept back. But what I mean is that just the fact that it can all go in a moment, the dark, you know, the dark consciousness can go with Baba's entrance into somebody's life. It can happen at any time. You know, it doesn't have to just happen when we first hear of him. But it's amazing that some people, there were two people that came to India in 1971, and they had a $60 a day habit of heroin. And they just came to Mehrabad, and that was thrown off of them, not through anything except just being in Baba's presence. In other words, what would normally take the cause and effect of getting over an addiction could take years. And they just got on a plane, they came, and that was lifted off of them, and they never went back to it. It was a thing of the past. That's how powerful the first cause is, you might say. Going to first cause, it can lift off everything. But it's very hard to get to that first cause, so to speak, you know, to go that deeply into Baba. Anyway, anything to say to that last God's programming? Okay.
Diane or Terry?
I think it's more of a question to try and understand. The term first cause is really new to me.
Yeah. The Greeks had the term the unmoved mover, where everything began. The first cause is like everything proceeds first from Baba and then comes down through and into our world. And if we take it, if we can get to where it begins, it's much simpler than if we just take the effects and try to deal with the effects of everything and go to the first cause. But all this is kind of sounds intellectual. It's Darwin trying to explain the value of just dropping as deeply into Baba as you can. And then a lot of this just gets answered.
Works very differently.
Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, we were saying that we can really, where we were saying before that it was hard for us to understand the very scholarly, like texts of God Speaks and what we listened to yesterday. It's both of us, it does seep into our brain, Darwin's words.
Yeah.
Not as much as I'd like, but
A lot.
a lot more.
I think it's very hard to conceptualize with our limited minds what first cause is. I have a problem with that too. I had the same problem first time I read it.
Yeah. Well,
Martha?
Martha's kind of there in candlelight tonight.
Yeah, I was working in another room, but I heard Diane, and I just want to say something on behalf of of myself. You know, maybe or maybe not, I don't know. You assume that you should know and believe all this stuff that us old timers know and believe or whatever. But I want to say that if something doesn't fit, I don't wear it with Baba. And so just because I don't like first cause either, it's like, what the hell, first cause? I mean, it's Baba. So why are they calling it first cause? Anyway, if somebody loves first cause, Darwin did. God, he knows more than I do. But so I'm just saying, if something doesn't fit with Baba, that's the beauty of Baba. He's a custom-made lover. And I can make him any kind of lover I want. And that's the kind of man I like.
Yeah. You mean you don't like wearing that wetsuit around the house?
That what?
You don't like
Wetsuit?
wearing that wetsuit around the house?
No, I don't like that.
It doesn't fit, yeah.
No.
No, Darwin comes out of, a lot of those early people that came to Baba in the 30s, they came out of some of this thing called New Thought. And they worked with that before they came to Baba. So that was part of their journey. And that comes out in what he's writing here.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because I remember one of the times when we were going through this book, and there was the question of the infinite formless God and then God in form. And we were having difficulty in trying to spell that out. This infinite God, formless God, and then there's God in human form. So that day I went into the lagoon cabin. This was during the pandemic, and there was nobody on the center, and I went in and just paid my respects in the lagoon cabin. And I was standing there. Baba flashed this image to me, that the infinite formless God is the puppeteer, and the avatars are the hand puppets. They come down and join us on Earth. But you can't say that the puppet is inferior to the puppeteer, because it's the same guy. So all the qualities of the puppeteer are shared by the puppet, because it's the same guy operating both things. So sometimes people think, oh, Baba comes down here and he doesn't have infinite knowledge, power, and bliss, and infinite consciousness when he's with us, because we kind of think, oh, that's that little guy over there. How could he have all that? How could he be everywhere when he's sitting right over there? But he doesn't relinquish his everywhereness when he comes in a form. You know what I mean? So a lot of these great attributes are present with Baba, but we kind of only see the human side of him, you might say. Okay.
Jeff, that just reminds me of, and again, going back to nothing and the everything, the mischievous chicken. The first time I ever got the concept of how it was that the first soul became the avatar. And that is the soul that comes back every time as the avatar, that one soul. But that mischievous chicken helped me to get past that. How did that happen?
Yeah. I know. It's no explanation for it. How did the first person come? Someone had to give birth to the person. Well, where'd they come from? It's just not. You just have to kind of not go there. Okay, let's see. Let's go rest in first cause. Let's see. How about Josh? Oh, can you hear? He's probably doesn't have access. How about Goer? How about your reading?
Sure, Jeff. Rest in first cause. We have to see through the illusions we have been prey to. This is easily accomplished by rising from the level of conditions to first cause and realizing that all these conditions are simply machinations of the mind. Remaining at the level of first cause, we come to realize that these illusions are only creations of the imagination. And while abiding at the level of first cause, we may experience clarity of consciousness, peace of mind, and even bliss. So we have to learn to rest in the Master or God as first cause. Rest in that point of view. Resting in first cause is the most practical thing we can do. Call on Baba himself instead of depending on little contingencies. He is the solution to all our problems. Really consider him as that. Resting in first cause requires full faith, and faith supersedes the intellect. Faith is the size of a mustard seed. Faith, the size of a mustard seed, can produce the miraculous. That really is true, because all the circumstances of our lives are imaginary. They are subject to change quickly. We discover that nothing is crystallized. Everything can change instantly, despite the surrounding circumstances. So, situations that seem to be set in concrete can change instantaneously.
Anything to say to that?
Maya is ever changing, God is never changing. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, the looks like Diane, you do you know you got your hand up? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Thank you. I find myself a lot of times trying to wrap my brain around the concept of Baba doing all the things we say he can do. Like, I can't even fathom how he could be this, have his Nazar on you, all at the same time, plus the billions of other people on the planet.
Yeah.
And then I do something that is very unusual for someone like me who grew up thinking so literally, is to have a leap of faith and understand that I'm not going to be able to wrap my head around something that powerful and that magnanimous with my pea brain that I have. I just can't. And I've never been a faith-based person until now. And I don't have, I have to remind myself every day to do it.
No, that's beautiful. I mean, really, yes, like how could Baba be right here with me? I'm feeling him here with me, and then he's in LA with you too. I mean, the human imagination cannot grasp it, but somehow our heart at the deepest level and our intuition knows that that can be done.
Right.
You know, it is miraculous. I mean, it's like be superhuman. No one can do it. And not even the perfect masters can do it the way Baba can do it, because not Baba says the masters, the perfect masters act, but he becomes. Well, I don't know, I don't know how to define act, but he becomes each one of us. Now that's even more. It's not only is he watching and with everybody, he becomes each of us. So he lives our life along with us. So when we suffer, he suffers. When we're happy, he's happy. I mean, it takes a long time to get a sense of that. But it's, you know, these are imponderable, and yet something in us knows that it's possible. Some being can do that. Anyway.
Ron?
So in order to, one way of pondering that is to employ some imagination and creativity. And I think Baba likes it when we use that.
How is your consciousness different to ours? He answered.
Oh.
Diane,
Yeah.
What happened?
So go back, Ronnie, say that again.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking, I want to share this thing. It's about how someone might approach God in a very unique sort of way. And by using their own creativity and imagination, but from a real feeling place.
Yeah.
So this comes from a novel called Odd Thomas. Maybe some of you might have come across this book. Odd Thomas is written by Dean Koontz. And the character Odd Thomas is describing his granny, who's a very unusual person and who has this relationship with God. It says, Granny believed in bargaining with God. She called him that old rug merchant. Before every poker game, she promised God to spread his holy word or to share her good fortune with orphans in return for a few unbeatable hands. Throughout her life, winnings from card games remained a significant source of income. Being a hard drinking woman with numerous interests in addition to poker, Granny didn't always spend as much time spreading God's word as she promised him that she would. She believed that God expected to be conned more often than not, that he would be a good sport about it. You can con God and get away with it, Granny said, if you do so with charm and wit. If you live your life with imagination and verve, God will play along just to see what outrageously entertaining thing you'll do next. He'll also out you some slack if you're astonishingly stupid in an amusing fashion. Granny claimed that this explains why uncountable millions of breathtakingly stupid people get along quite fine in life. Of course, in the process, you must never do harm to others in any serious way, or you'll cease to amuse him. Then payment comes due for the promises you didn't keep. In spite of drinking lumberjacks under the table, regularly winning at poker with stone-hearted psychopaths who didn't like to lose, driving fast cars with utter contempt for the laws of physics, but never while intoxicated, and eating a diet rich in pork fat, Granny died peacefully in her sleep at the age of 72. They found her with a nearly empty snifter of brandy on the nightstand, a book by her favorite novelist turned to the last page, and a smile on her face. Judging by all available evidence, Granny and God understood each other pretty well.
Hey, that's great. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Man, that you dug that one out. That was so I think did we come to the end here? Let's see, what time is it? Let me just see here.
There's one little more chunk.
Yeah. Marta. The value of knowledge.
okay, there it is.
Oh, we can't hear you, Marta. Huh. Are the rest of you hearing Marta?
No, we are not.
No, we
Can't hear her.
can't hear her.
No, can't hear.
Okay. Who else wants to read there? I can't see who else is there.
I will read, Jeff. This is
Okay,
Rada.
go ahead. Yeah.
The value of knowledge. Making our unconscious programming conscious involves drawing upon the supervening orders of the universe, which are not miracles, but simply a higher set of laws. Operating from these higher laws is not performing magic in the ordinarily understood sense of the term, but it is using our intelligence to comply with the impelling force of the universe, which is completely benevolent and which is well-being for everyone and everything. Perhaps the greatest value of knowing all this is the revelation of how unerringly we can depend on God, Baba, the universal mind. Our faith can be transformed into conviction. And when you see the truth of this, then you can rest assured that you really can rely on God in every situation. And then you can work from that angle. Work towards trusting God more and more, trusting truth to supersede Maya. Then you know that you do not have to struggle with this or that worry, or this or that problem. We should place all our faith and trust in the Master, our God. We must know that he can do anything. When we trust in the Master's guidance, he can and does guide us. This is what is meant by surrendering our will for the will of God. This means that we are willing to set aside our choices for the will of God. This does not mean that we ignore the conditions of life. However, we do not worry and we trust God as best we can. When we trust him completely, we are putting that responsibility on him. He can take care of all the problems. Resting in first cause is really giving everything to Baba and being free.
Beautifully read. With real... Yeah, so anything to say to that? That's a beautiful summation of that whole chapter.
One of the things that I love about this book, I've read it several times. I find it really moving. I think it's really about practicing God's presence and having that be the bottom line for everything. We can dance around the razor's edge all we want to, but ultimately it comes down to doing that all the time. That's the goal. And I love that Darwin Shaw this is what he really wanted to say the most at the end of his life, which is, let's make it more simple. Let's just keep surrendering every moment to Baba.
Yeah, beautifully said. I know Darwin and Jean, one of their favorite books, it's a little book called The Practice of the Presence of God by someone called Brother Lawrence.
Yes.
And probably some of you know, but he was kind of I think maybe an aristocrat, and he went to work at this monastery, and the powers that be kind of put him in doing pots and pans, and he was just kind of, put behind the scenes, but he determined to scrub and clean those pots and pans for Jesus. And with his sincerity, he eventually got Jesus's presence, because he was doing this job for Jesus. And so in that way, Darwin and Jean did everything they did for Baba, and they just they had his presence wherever they went. And when I first went there as a young kid, not real young, but they were, it was like Baba and Jean and Darwin were just hanging out all day, 24 hours a day, just playfully. And I think of all the other houses that Baba goes to in the world, most of them, there are problems. But when he would go to Darwin and Jean's house, he got a break, a complete break. You know, they just hung out. It's beautiful to see, beautiful to experience. You know, they had his loving company, and so many of the problems that other people had to go through, they were relieved of. Yeah. Hey, so let's have a few moments of silence. If there's nothing further to add.
Prabhu and Parameshwar.
Oh. Yeah, I would like you to, sorry, before silence. I know you talked about the intergenerational seminar on Saturday, but some people joined afterwards. So I think it would be good for you to give the spiel again.
Yeah. Okay, so any of you that want to, this coming Saturday at 1 o'clock. Well, let me say that there's going to be RT at 11 if you want to come to that. And then at 12 o'clock, Charles Haynes is going to talk. You know, most of you know he met Baba as a child and everything. Wonderful what he shares. And then at 1 o'clock, we're going to get together all as a group initially, and then we're going to go out into breakout groups. And one of the questions will be, you know, how does Baba show up in your day? How do you remember Baba? And it's going to be they're going to be different generations in each of the breakout groups. So, and then we'll have a second breakout group, and that will be, well, we'll give you the questions to kind of consider. But it will be just nice. I mean, my thought is, along with Margie and a woman named Elisa, that, you know, with this pandemic, we kind of gone different ways. You know, the younger people, they had great skills in Zoom, you know, in the digital world, and they kind of took off and had their own way. And as older people, we kind of limped along and kind of picked up some of this. And so this is kind of bringing everybody under the same roof. And I think it should be fun. And, you know, I don't know if Adrian and Alan will get there, but, you know, they might. That would be great. So you'll get to meet people that you know, through serendipity, you may never meet, you know, unless you kind of run into them at the center. They could be, some of them will be from India, some from, you know, all around. So.
I have a question.
Yeah. Go ahead, Nasreen. Yeah. We have a question too.
Nasreen, John, you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not muted.
No.
I'm not muted. What is the meaning of Prabhu and Parameshwar?
Prabhu means God in human form, and Parameshwar is the formless, infinite God. That's my understanding. Prabhu is Meher Prabhu is a biography that Balkauchuri did of Baba. Prabhu and Parameshwar is the infinite, formless God. So say, you know, let's see, how does it go? You are the ancient one. God, I can't remember. I'd say the prayer, but I can't do it out of context. You are the ancient one, and you are Prabhu and Parameshwar. You are the beyond God and the beyond God also.
Yeah.
I think Allah is the same actually in the Mohammedan faith. They pray to God instead of Muhammad because he didn't tell them he was the avatar, right?
Yeah.
So I think.
Yeah. And the Buddha also, it's the formless aspect. But see, the reason it's interesting in this book because I find every other Advent, Baba emphasizes a different aspect. So as Baba, he's emphasizing God in human form. As Muhammad, he emphasized Allah, the formless aspect of God. As Jesus, he emphasized God in human form, the form of Jesus. And then as Buddha, it's the formless. Then as Krishna, you have God in human form again. And I think Abraham comes in there, that's the formless. So even though we're very attracted to this time, God in human form, I think eventually we're going to overdo it. We'll make an idolatry of it, and then Baba has to come back and emphasize the formless. But then the formless, after a while, gets kind of dry and boring, so he has to come in form again. It's all kind of where humanity is at. Now this is just my opinion, as an opinionated observer from the sidelines. Okay, now, Dinku isn't here, I don't think. Let me just see if Dinku. She sent me a beautiful. Maybe I'll read it. Oh, Dinku, she is there.
Hi, Jeff. Yes, I'm here.
Do you have that? You know what you sent to me, that thing from Rumi? Handy or?
Just let me check, please.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This is Rumi. It's a beautiful camera angle.
Oh, okay.
What is poison?
What is poison? Yeah. Do you want me to read it or will you read it?
Yeah, you go ahead and read it.
Okay. What is poison? Anything which is more than our necessity is poison. It may be power, wealth, ego, greed, laziness, love, ambition, hate. What is fear? Non-acceptance of uncertainty. If we accept that uncertainty, it becomes adventure. What is envy? Non-acceptance of good in others. If we accept that good, it becomes inspiration. What is anger? Non-acceptance of things which are beyond our control. If we accept, it becomes tolerance. What is hatred? Non-acceptance of person as he is. If we accept a person unconditionally, it becomes love.
That's nice.
So did we have the few moments of silence? I can't remember. Okay,
There's this other one, sorry, Jeff, the other one by Marianne Williamson, which I also liked. Hate has talked so loudly for so long. Greed has talked so loudly for so long. Liars have talked so loudly for so long. Love has got to stop whispering. Jai Baba.
We all met many of us met Marianne Williamson when she was here in Myrtle Beach.
Oh,
It was a
wow.
beautiful, beautiful person. And I hope she runs for president again. Only because she gets a point of view across that that people watching TV rarely ever hears. Because she has such a spiritual, view of things instead of just the political or sociological view of things. Okay, let's have a few moments of silence. I don't think we can get Adrian to play, any music. I mean, she's.
I'm just a little too famous now at this point.
Jesus.
Yeah.
What would you
a
like
new
me
song come out?
Play him a song.
What do you want me to play?
All in.
Can you play with that one on the piano?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
good.
But I don't have my microphone, so it's just gonna be
You sound good.
okay.
Oh, good. This is lovely.
My piano's out of tune.
We won't know the difference. We're not that keen. We're not that.
Some of you are. Somebody is. Somebody's like, ugh. Okay, Jay Baba. Do not lose heart, but keep me in your heart, and remember that I am always with you. Always with you.
Yep. That was Winterfeld's favorite quote. Yeah.
Can you put on original sound?
Oh, do you want to grab? I think actually the microphone's upstairs. You want to grab it? Alan's gonna grab it. He gave me a thumbs up.
Oh, good.
He feels good about that.
It's about time.
Having me. I'm going to sing a song called "Sing and Surrender,"
Oh, I love that.
which is going to be on my upcoming album.
Yeah.
Just coming out really soon.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try to come to the East Coast and be in oh, that means it's outside.
Does it come out on CD or is it just digital?
Both. I'm gonna have CDs. And I'm planning to come to Myrtle Beach in October, I think, and Asheville as well. And maybe I'll get up to New York. And I'm also, Baba willing, will be in India in December, in the beginning of December. So if any of you or and we can sing, and I can share the music with you if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Alan's grabbing the microphone, so maybe we should read another Baba quote.
Let's see. Here's one that I like. This is there was a book that came out in 1914 written by a 27-year-old woman called Mysticism, that a lot of the early followers of Baba, before they heard of Baba, this was kind of the Bible. She wrote very beautifully about all the mystical, the saints and the mystics and everything, and what they said. She wove it together beautifully. But this is one thing she said later on. She was a British woman. But I like what she said here. Her name is Evelyn Underhill. It seems so much easier these days to live morally rather than beautifully. Lots of us manage to exist for years without ever sinning against society, but we sin against loveliness every hour of the day. Very interesting camera angle. It seems so much easier these days to live morally rather than to live beautifully. Lots of us manage to exist for years without ever sinning against society, but we sin against loveliness every hour of the day. And kind of what that to me means is that somehow in all of we're so fastidious in how we live and everything. We may not be that. We may be doing our duty all so dutifully, and yet we may not be sharing much love, bringing much love to things. And that's what she's kind of saying, is that
it's beautiful.
You might be doing all the right things, but if it doesn't have love in it, it's missing its most important component. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Is that a little better?
Sounds good. Maybe a little louder for us.
Sing for the forest, sing for the sky, sing for all the moments that are passing you by, sing for the animals, sing for your friends, As the clock runs, time stands still. Tomorrow's never promised to anyone, and the empty stage of life is yours to fill. So sing. Sing and then surrender. Sing and then let go. Sing for your happiness. Sing for your sorrow. Sing for your happiness and sing for your sorrow. Sing because you can. Sing because it's good. Sing for all the people in the world who wish they could. Sing for all the people in the world who wish they could. All of our days are endlessly numbered. As the clock runs, time stands still. Tomorrow's never promised to anyone, and the empty stage of life is yours to fill. So sing. Sing for your homeland. Sing for your soul. Sing for your brokenness. Sing until you're whole. Sing for your brokenness and sing until you're whole. Sing for your healing. Sing because it's right. Sing your warmth into the cold, dark night. Sing your warmth into the cold, dark night. All of our days are endlessly numbered. Time is moving forward, even if you're standing still. Oh, tomorrow's never promised to anyone, and the empty stage of life is yours to fill. So sing.
Wow, beautiful. God.
Bravo, bravo.
Alan. Alan held the
What?
microphone the whole time.
Yeah, that.
There's a magnificent audio recording of that on Southeast Gathering 22. That whole sequence of recording you, the audio is incredible, and your talent just is exposed for what it really is. Incredible.
Incredible.
Hey,
Yeah.
and good luck. Your opening is this, your drop party is this Thursday, right?
Yeah,
Aren't you?
my album is, if anyone's in the Bay Area or wants to just take a last minute flight and come to Berkeley. I'm looking at you, Josh. I think from
Yeah,
Australia
Josh.
to
Yeah. You don't have a decent
I don't like
excuse.
24 hours. It's not a big deal.
Well, that was so touching. Well, that was great.
Yeah, Josh, crank up that private plane, Josh. You got it.
Well, let's have thanks, Alan, you're really making yourself useful in this world.
I appreciate it, Jeff. Thanks.
Alan,
The mic holder.
what'd you say?
What is a musician without a mic holder?
Yeah. I mean, you could use a microphone stand, but
Yeah.
you might as well just ask your husband to stand there
Yeah.
and hold the
No,
microphone.
No, you want to give it to your man because
The
he.
mic man.
Yeah.
Mic man.
Yeah, you're a mic man.
Hey, well, let's have a few moments of silence, and then we'll have Nasreen herald us into the ether. Oh, wait, VJ, we can hear you. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
So
Avatar Meher Baba ki
Jai.
Avatar Meher Baba ki
Jai.
Avatar Meher Baba ki
Jai.
Okay. Wow, that was fantastic. Yeah.
Great night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay Baba.
Everybody, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Yeah.